Okay, so right in the heart of Pakistan's capital, you've got the Islamabad High Court. On the surface, it's a symbol of law and justice, right? But this court, it has this absolutely wild history. A story of being created, then destroyed, and then brought back to life. It really makes you rethink what we assume about these big, solid legal institutions. All right, let's start with the basics. The Islamabad High Court, you'll hear it called the IHC, is basically the top court for the capital city. Think of it this way. It's the court of appeals for all the district courts in the area. So for most legal fights in Islamabad, this is pretty much the last stop before something could potentially go all the way to the Supreme Court. You know, we usually think of high courts as these permanent, unshakable pillars of the system. They're just there. But the story of the IHC throws a real curveball at that idea and makes you ask this wild question. What if a court, a whole high court, could just disappear? Be totally erased, and then somehow brought back from the dead? Well, that's not a hypothetical. That's exactly what happened here.
So, to really understand the court as it is today, you have to look at its pretty turbulent past. It's like this incredible three-act drama. It was born, then it was disbanded, and then it was reborn.
I mean, look at this timeline. The court's early years were just chaotic. It gets established in 2007, then just 2 years later in 2009, boom! The Supreme Court dissolves it. It literally ceased to exist. And then, in 2010, it's brought back to life by an act of parliament. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's a total institutional roller coaster.
And this really captures the core of the whole drama. See, the first time around, in 2007, it was created by a presidential order from a military ruler. That's a shaky foundation, and it didn't last. But its rebirth in 2010? That was built on something way, way stronger, an actual act of parliament, backed by a constitutional amendment. And that shift, well, it's everything. It took the court from being something created by one person's decree to an institution with the full weight of the Constitution behind it.
All right, so now that it's on much firmer ground, what does the court actually look like today? Let's dive into its current makeup and how it's structured.
So the court is authorized to have a total of 13 judges. That's the maximum number. And for the high court of a nation's capital, that's actually a pretty compact group. The whole idea is to be focused and efficient in overseeing just the federal territory. And the structure is super straightforward. You've got one Chief Justice at the top leading the court, and then you have the other 12 judges who make up the bench and hear all the cases.
And here's a really crucial detail about who these judges are. They don't all come from Islamabad. In fact, they're appointed from all over Pakistan, from Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan, and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. This is a big deal because it ensures you get a mix of different regional and legal viewpoints on the bench, making it a court that really reflects the whole country. Of course, any institution is shaped by its leaders, right? So let's take a look at the line of Chief Justices who've guided the court since it was brought back.
So, since 2011, you've had 4 people at the helm. It started with Iqbal Hamid-ur Rahman, then Muhammad Anwar Khan Kassi, followed by Athar Minallah, and most recently Amar Farooq. Each one of them played a really important part in shaping the court into what it is today.
And that brings us right up to today. The current leader of the court is Chief Justice Sardar Mohammad Safraz Dagher. He just took his oath in February of this year, ready to guide the court into its next chapter.
Okay, so we've walked through its crazy history, how it's set up, and who's been in charge. So what? Why does this particular court's story actually matter? Let's get to the takeaway. Here's the bottom line. The Islamabad High Court isn't just another court. It's the highest court for the capital, sure. But more than that, it's this incredible story of resilience. The fact that it was dissolved and then brought back on solid constitutional ground, that makes it a really key pillar in Pakistan's entire judiciary. You know, when you really think about it, the story of the IHC teaches us something really profound. A court's strength isn't just about the rulings it makes. It's about its ability to survive, to be resilient. It shows that real institutional power isn't just about being stable. It's about being able to endure, to adapt, and to come back even stronger. And this leaves us with one last kind of provocative thought. Does having a dramatic past like this, being knocked down and then getting back up on even stronger legal footing, does that actually give an institution more authority today? It kind of makes you think that legitimacy isn't just something you're given. Maybe it's something you earn through sheer resilience. Definitely something to chew on.